morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News, dateline 3rd of September 2022. This is our weekly report on how religion has impacted humanity over the last 7 days. This week's headlines. Patriarch Kirill cancels a chance to meet with Pope Francis. A Texas judge blocks the HHS enforcement of emergency room abortions. Steve Bannon wants to summon an army of Christian nationalists. Dr. Mehmet Oz's Senate bid could be a Muslim first. A Quiverfull church in New York's North Country faces a day of reckoning. Measles grips Zimbabwe as Apostolic churches shun Western medicine. Serbia will not host EuroPride 2022, says the president. An ex-terrorist spokesperson is named as Somalia's new religion minister. A Turkish pop star is jailed over a joke about religious schools. At least 23 are dead amid fighting in Iraq after Moqtada al-Sadr quits. Christian hate preacher Steven Anderson is still spreading lies about gays and lesbians. And Christian hate preacher Jonathan Shelley held a book burning for non-KJV Bibles. A meeting between Pope Francis and Patriarch Kirill, the head of the Russian Orthodox Church, has been scrapped after the cleric, who has been widely criticized for his justifications for the invasion of Ukraine, pulled out of a meeting of religious leaders in Kazakhstan next month. Francis was said to be hoping for an encounter with Kirill on the sidelines of the event. A Texas federal judge has preliminarily blocked enforcement of federal guidance which permits emergency room abortions. At issue in the case, State of Texas versus Xavier Becerra, was a guidance sent to healthcare providers on July the 11th by Becerra, the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. It stated that the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act, a 1986 law that mandates doctors to provide emergency health care to the poor, requires physicians to provide abortions even when such actions may violate state law. U.S. District Judge James Wesley Hendricks disagreed and ruled that the HHS guidance cannot be enforced within Texas or against members of two organizations who claim religious and conscientious objections to performing abortions. In an August the 10th appearance on a World Prayer Network prayer call, Steve Bannon, a former advisor to President Donald Trump, who helped lead Trump's plan to steal the 2020 election, proclaimed that what we need is poll workers. If we want to win, your congregations have to be in the counting rooms and prepared to have those knife fights. Summoning Christian Republicans to work the polls is part of a broader strategy to make November's midterm elections as chaotic as the 2020 election. The rallying call is the big lie that not only claims that Trump won in 2020, but that every election is compromised. If Dr. Mehmet Oz is elected to the US Senate this fall, he'll be the first Muslim ever to serve in the chamber. It's something he hardly brings up while campaigning. His Democratic opponent isn't raising it, and it's barely a topic of conversation in Pennsylvania's Muslim community. Even if Muslims know that Oz, the celebrity heart surgeon best known as the host of daytime TV's The Dr. Oz Show, is a fellow Muslim, many may not identify with him culturally or politically. And in any case, Muslims aren't monolithic and won't necessarily vote for a candidate just because they share a religion. Muslims across the state say he'll have to win them over on the issues, just as with all voters. Sean Ferguson, a husband, father, and faithful Christian Fellowship Centre member, has been charged with first-degree sexual abuse of a child. Days later, Ferguson's sister tweeted that CFC, a Pentecostal church in the small city of Madrid in New York State, had known about Sean Ferguson's abuse 5 years earlier in 2017. New York State Police confirmed that Ferguson was charged in 2022 with having sexually abused his two young daughters in 2015. Pastor Sinclair defended his decision not to report Ferguson's abuse to police or to child protection services or to the broader CFC community. His entire approach to addressing this crisis was the claim that he's under no moral obligation to report unless someone can conclusively demonstrate that to him from Scripture, said a CFC member. Sinclair says his process in regard to those caught in sin, including those sins that have potential criminal bearing, includes repentance, cleansing, deliverance, and reconciliation through the cross. He added that his priority is to see sinners experience the healing and restoration that Jesus provides, to do what Jesus would do if he were present. Sinclair's knowledge of Ferguson's abuse prompted 7 former members to form CFC2. We are survivors of abuse at Christian Fellowship Centre, they wrote. We have experienced spiritual, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse at the hands of CFC leaders and members. The group offered first-hand accounts from those who allege abuse at CFC, and according to Abby Nye, a CFC2 advocate who attended CFC until 2005, 18 individuals have shared stories of physical or sexual abuse with CFC2. Catherine Joyce, who wrote a 2009 book on the Quiverfull movement, said the movement is about leaving your fertility in God's hands. In practice, said Joyce, it's characterized by large families, think the Duggars, who often share other informal lifestyle elements, including homeschooling, purity culture, and female submission. Congregations can be seen each Saturday throughout Zimbabwe as they worship outside, often under a tree or alongside a main road, in pristine white clothes. The groups are part of Apostolic churches or sects, and there are thought to be as many as 3.5 million followers across the country, around 1 in 5 of the population. Their teachings, which regularly include a potent mix of opposition towards Western medicine and belief in faith, healing, and prayer, mean the congregations have become a stronghold of anti-vaccination sentiment. That combination is now having fatal consequences, health officials have warned. A spiraling measles outbreak has killed more than 150 children nationwide, almost all of them unvaccinated because of their parents' religious opposition. Cases started to rise in Zimbabwe's eastern Manicaland province in early April, but have accelerated more recently, with around 2,000 children now affected. In the past week, the death toll has almost doubled. The international LGBT Pride Parade has been hosted in a different European city most years since 1992. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has said September's EuroPride parade scheduled for Belgrade will not go ahead. Mr. Vucic's announcement comes after thousands of people marched in protest against the event earlier this month. The president said he was not happy with the decision, but that Serbia had to concentrate on other issues, including trouble in Kosovo. The parade organizers have said the parade will go ahead anyway, with any ban being illegal. On August the 2nd, Somalian Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Bare appointed the former deputy leader and co-founder of the Islamist militant group al-Shabaab as the new Minister of Religious Affairs. Moqtada, also known as Abu Mansour, co-founded al-Shabaab, and al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for many bombings and suicide attacks. See this video.
Okay. On August 2nd, Somalian Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Bare appointed the former deputy leader and co-founder of the Islamist militant group al-Shabaab as the new Minister of Religious Affairs. Moqtada, also known as Abu Mansour, co-founded al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibilities for many bombings and suicide attacks. They typically target government officials, the African Union mission in Somalia, and perceived allies of the federal government of Somalia. Rabao's affiliation with al-Shabaab stirred a discussion on whether it will strengthen the fight against the insurgency or provoke clan clashes. Apparently, his selection is an attempt to pit him against his former group. His cabinet post will put him in charge of the ideological confrontation against al-Shabaab and challenge their dominance and legitimacy in many regions in Somalia. The political analyst Mohammed said, quote, we welcome his appointment. The move will advance reconciliation and serve as a good example for more high-level al-Shabaab defections.
Turkish pop star Gülsen has been arrested on charges of inciting hatred and enmity with a joke she made about Turkey's religious schools. The 46-year-old singer and songwriter, whose full name is Gülsen Kolokodlu, was taken away from her home in Istanbul for questioning and formally arrested late on Thursday. She was then taken to a prison pending trial. The arrest sparked outrage on social media. Government critics said the move was an effort by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to consolidate support from his religious and conservative voters ahead of elections in 10 months. The charges were based on a joke Gülsen made during an April concert in Istanbul, where she quipped that one of her musician's perversions stemmed from attending a religious school. A video of the singer's comment began circulating on social media with the hashtag calling for her arrest. Gülsen, who previously became a target in Islamic circles due to her revealing stage outfits and for unfurling an LGBTQ flag at a concert, apologized for the offense the joke had caused, but said her comments were seized on by those wanting to deepen polarization in the country. Her request to be released from custody pending the outcome of a trial was rejected. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, leader of Turkey's main opposition party, called on Turkey's judges and prosecutors to release Gülsen. Don't betray the law and justice. Release the artist now, he wrote on Twitter. The spokesman for Erdogan's Justice and Development Party appeared, however, to defend the decision to arrest the singer, saying, "Inciting hatred is not an art form. Targeting a segment of society with the allegation of perversion and trying to polarize Turkey is a hate crime and a disgrace to humanity," spokesman Ömer Çelik tweeted. Erdogan and many members of his Islam-based ruling parties are graduates of religious schools which were originally established to train imams. The number of religious schools in Turkey has increased under Erdogan, who has promised to raise a pious generation. Among those calling for Gülsen's release was Turkish pop star Tarkan, best known internationally for the song Kiss Kiss. At least 23 people have been killed in some of the worst fighting for years in Iraq's capital, Baghdad, sparked by a key leader's decision to quit politics. Gunshots and rocket fire rang out as supporters of Shia Muslim cleric Moqtada al-Sadr clashed with security forces and militias aligned with Iran. Mr. Sadr has ordered his supporters to withdraw from outside parliament, where they have been protesting for weeks. Iraq has been in a state of paralysis since inconclusive elections in 2021. The violence began on Monday after Mr. Sadr, one of Iraq's most influential figures, said he was withdrawing from political life. His bloc won the most seats in October's elections, but could not agree on the formation of a new government with the second largest bloc, comprised mainly of Iran-backed parties. Once an Iranian ally, Mr. Sadr has repositioned himself as a nationalist wanting to end US and Iranian influence over Iraq's internal affairs. The fighting has been taking place between Mr. Sadr's militia, known as the Peace Brigades, and militias supported by Iran and members of the Iraqi security forces. See this video. Christian hate preacher Steven Anderson, who's banned from stepping foot in 34 countries, is still spreading harmful lies about gays and lesbians. See this video.
These people are going to take you down a dark path. You start hanging around with a bunch of faggots and lesbians, you know what they're going to do? They're going to ply you with alcohol or ply you with drugs, and they're going to abuse you. They're going to molest you. They are going to get you into some weird junk that you have no desire to get into. Stay away from them. They are evil. They are freaks. They are predators. They're not reproducers. They are recruiters. They are molesters. They are predators. Stay away from them.
Another Christian hate preacher, Jonathan Shelley, and his colleagues held a book burning for non-KJV Bibles. See this video.
All right. Now, it has to be parental approval, but if your parents approve, you can come and get one of these and throw them in. All right? All right. Hell's gonna be hotter than this, folks. A lot hotter.
This week's Free Thought Hour features the return visit of Pastor Alan Cartwright. He's bringing a PowerPoint to make his case for Christianity. You can join in by texting your comments and questions. It's live and it's free. And don't forget to watch Global Atheist News Review, our spin-off show where a panel of opinionated people get a chance to express their views on this very news. The GAN team will be back with our weekly news report next week. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and set the notifications. This has been Global Atheist News. Thank you for watching.